My name is Lily. I am 26 years old. I live in a small town called Harmony Creek. It is a quiet place. There are tall trees and small, neat houses. I moved here 6 months ago. I wanted a new start. I work at the town library. It is a peaceful job. I like books. I like the quiet. One Tuesday afternoon, I went to the supermarket. The sun was shining. Birds were singing. It felt like a normal day. I bought milk, bread, and some apples. I paid for my things. I smiled at the cashier. Then I walked to my car. It is an old blue car. It is not fancy, but it is mine. I put my groceries in the back seat. I was ready to go home. But then I saw something on my car's windshield. It was a small piece of paper. It was tucked under the wiper. I picked it up. My hands felt a little shaky. I did not know why. I opened the note. The writing was messy. It was in black ink. It said, "I know your secret. Be careful." My heart started to pound. Boom, boom, boom. It felt like a drum inside my chest. I know your secret. What secret? I read the words again. Be careful. My mouth felt dry. I looked around the parking lot. Were they watching me? Who wrote this? I quickly got into my car. I locked the doors. My hands were trembling. I could not put the key in the ignition easily. What secret did they mean? I tried to think. My mind was a blank. I did not have big secrets. Or did I? I finally started the car. I drove away from the supermarket. I kept looking in my rearview mirror. Was a car following me? Every car looked suspicious. Every person walking on the street looked like they were watching me. My quiet town suddenly felt scary. When I got to my small apartment, I rushed inside. I locked the door. I checked the windows. They were all locked. I put my groceries on the kitchen counter. My apples rolled onto the floor. I did not pick them up. I sat on my sofa. My heart was still beating fast. I know your secret. The words kept repeating in my head. I thought about my life. I am a simple person. I go to work. I read books. I sometimes call my mother. She lives far away. What secret could I have? Maybe it was about my old job. I used to work in a big city, at a big company. My boss there, Mr. Harrison, he was not a very nice man. One day, I saw him. He was taking money from the company safe. He did not see me. I was very scared. I did not say anything. I was afraid. A week later, I quit my job. I told them I was moving. I did not tell them what I saw. Was that my secret? Did Mr. Harrison find me? Did he send this note? My stomach felt sick. I stood up and walked around my small living room. The sun was setting. The room was getting dark. I did not turn on the lights. I felt safer in the dark. But the shadows looked like people. I jumped when the refrigerator made a noise. This was not like me. I am usually calm. I tried to tell myself it was a joke. Maybe some teenagers. Maybe it was for someone else. But the note was on my car. and it felt so real. The fear felt real. That night, I could not sleep. I lay in bed. My eyes were wide open. Every sound outside made me jump. The wind in the trees, a cat walking on the roof, a car driving down the street. Was it them? Were they coming for me? I wished I had a dog, a big dog to protect me. The next morning I felt tired. My eyes were red. I had to go to work. I did not want to leave my apartment. It felt like the only safe place. But I needed my job. I needed to be normal. Or try to be normal. I walked to my car very slowly. I looked around carefully. There was no one. There was no new note. I took a deep breath. Maybe it was just a one-time thing. Maybe they were gone. At the library, I tried to focus. I put books on shelves. I helped people find books. Mrs. Gable, my boss, is a kind old lady. She noticed I was quiet. "Are you all right, Lily?" she asked. Her voice was soft. I wanted to tell her. I wanted to tell her about the note, about my fear. But what if she thought I was crazy? What if she told me to go to the police? I did not want to go to the police. What would I say? Someone left a scary note? They might laugh, so I just smiled a little. "I'm just a bit tired, Mrs. Gable," I said. "I didn't sleep well." She nodded. "Take it easy today, dear," she said. The day passed slowly. Every time the library door opened, my heart jumped. I looked at every person. Was it them? Was the person who wrote the note here, in the library, watching me? This feeling was awful. I wanted it to stop. When I left work, it was getting dark. I walked to my car quickly. I kept looking over my shoulder. My car was there. Nothing seemed wrong. I got in and locked the doors. I drove home. I did not look in the rearview mirror this time. I was too scared to see if anyone was following. At home, I made a small dinner. I was not hungry. I ate a few bites of toast. Then I pushed the plate away. I sat by the window. I looked out at the street. The streetlights made long shadows. Everything looked strange, different. I thought about the secret again. The money Mr. Harrison took. If he knew I saw him, he could lose his job. He could go to jail. Maybe he was very angry. Maybe he wanted to scare me. So I would not tell anyone. But how did he find me? Harmony Creek was a small, quiet town, far from the city. Could it be something else? Another secret? I thought about my childhood. I once broke my mother's favorite vase. I hid the pieces. I never told her. But that was a small thing, a child's secret. This note felt much bigger, much darker. The next few days were the same. Fear was my new friend. It followed me everywhere. I checked my car for notes every morning. I checked it again when I left work. Nothing, but the fear did not go away. I felt like I was holding my breath all the time. I stopped going for walks. In the evening, I used to love walking by the creek. The water made a soft sound. It was peaceful. Now I did not feel safe outside, especially when it was dark. My mother called me on Saturday. "Lily, Darling, how are you? She asked. Her voice was warm and loving. I wanted to cry. I wanted to tell her everything, but I did not want to worry her. She was old. She had her own health problems. I'm fine, Mom, I said. I tried to make my voice sound happy. Work is good. The town is nice. You sound a little tired, Lily, she said. Are you eating properly? Yes, Mom. I'm just busy. I lied. I felt bad for lying, but it was better this way. We talked for a few more minutes, then we said goodbye. After the call, I felt even more alone. One afternoon, about a week after the first note, I was at work. I was shelving books in the history section. It was very quiet in that part of the library. Suddenly, I heard a soft noise behind me, like a footstep. I turned around quickly. There was no one there, just rows and rows of books. My heart was pounding. Hello? I called out. My voice was small. No answer. Was it my imagination? Or was someone really there, watching me, even inside the library, the place I thought was safe? I started to think about moving again. Maybe Harmony Creek was not safe for me. Maybe I needed to go somewhere else. Somewhere far away, where no one knew me. But I was tired of running. I just wanted a normal life, a quiet life. That evening, I decided to do something. I could not live in fear anymore. I needed to know. I needed to understand. I took out a piece of paper. I wrote down everything I could remember about Mr. Harrison, his company, the city he lived in. Maybe I could find some information online. Maybe he had moved, or maybe he was in trouble already. I was scared to look him up. What if he found out I was searching for him? But I had to do something. I opened my laptop. My hands were sweating. I typed his name into the search bar. Many results came up. News articles, company websites. I clicked on a news article. It was from a few months ago. The headline was, CEO arrested for fraud. My eyes grew wide. I read the article quickly. Mr. Harrison had been arrested. He took a lot of money from his company. He was going to jail. A wave of relief washed over me. It was so strong I almost cried. He was in jail. He could not have sent the note. It was not him. My biggest fear was gone. But if it was not Mr. Harrison, then who? And what secret did they mean? The relief was quickly replaced by confusion, and a little bit of fear still lingered. Closed my laptop. I felt a bit lighter, but the mystery was not solved. Someone still wrote that note. Someone was still trying to scare me. The next day, I felt a little braver. Knowing it wasn't Mr. Harrison helped. I decided to talk to Mrs. Gable. I needed to tell someone. During my lunch break, I went to her office. She was drinking tea and reading a book. Mrs. Gable, I started. My voice was a little shaky. Can I talk to you about something? She put down her book. Of course, Lily. Sit down. What is it? I took a deep breath. I told her about the note, about how scared I had been. I told her I thought it was my old boss, but he was in jail. Mrs. Gable listened patiently. She did not interrupt. When I finished, she looked at me with kind eyes. "Oh, Lily, you poor child," she said. "That sounds terrifying. You should have told me sooner." "I didn't want to bother you," I said. "I thought you might think I was being silly." "Not silly at all," she said. "A threat like that is serious. Even if it turns out to be a prank, it's designed to cause fear." She thought for a moment. "Do you have any idea who else it could be? Anyone in town who might dislike you?" I shook my head. "I don't think so. I don't know many people here. I mostly keep to myself." "Harmony Creek is usually a very safe town," Mrs. Gable said. "This is very unusual." She paused. Perhaps it was some teenagers playing a foolish prank. Sometimes they do silly things like that. They don't realize how much distress they can cause. Her words made sense. Maybe it was just a stupid joke. Maybe the secret was just a random scary word they chose. "What should I do?" I asked. "For now, try to be vigilant. Be aware of your surroundings. If you see anything suspicious, or if you get another note, you should report it to the police. And please, tell me if anything else happens." I nodded. "Thank you, Mrs. Gable. I feel better talking about it." "You're welcome, Lily. You're not alone in this." Leaving her office, I did feel a little stronger. Sharing my fear made it smaller. Maybe it was just a prank, a very mean prank. But still, a part of me was worried. What if it wasn't? A few more days passed. Nothing happened. No more notes. No strange footsteps. I started to relax a little. I even went for a short walk by the creek one evening. The water was calm. The air was fresh. It felt good to be outside again. Then, one afternoon, I came home from work. As I walked to my apartment door, I saw something stuck in the doorframe. My heart leapt into my throat. It was another small piece of paper, folded just like the first one. My hands trembled as I picked it up. I was almost too afraid to open it. I went inside my apartment and locked the door. I sat on the sofa. My breath was short. Slowly, I unfolded the note. This time, the message was even shorter. It said, "I'm still watching." Cold fear spread through me. It was not a one-time prank. Someone was targeting me. Someone was enjoying my fear. I started to cry. I felt so helpless, so scared. Why was this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? I cried for a long time. Then I wiped my tears. I was scared, yes, but I was also angry. Angry that someone was doing this to me. Angry that they were trying to ruin my life, my quiet, simple life. I would not let them win. I had to be strong. For myself, I thought about what Mrs. Gable said. Report it to the police. Maybe it was time. I picked up the phone. I hesitated. Then I dialed the number for the local police station. A calm voice answered. "Harmony Creek Police Department. How can I help you?" "My name is Lily Parker," I said. My voice was still a bit shaky. I need to report something. I've been receiving threatening notes." The next day, an officer came to my apartment. Officer Miller. He was young, with a kind face. I showed him both notes. I told him everything. About the first note on my car, about the fear, about the second note on my door. Officer Miller listened carefully. He took notes. He asked me questions. "Do you know anyone who might want to scare you, Miss Parker?" I told him about Mr. Harrison, but that he was in jail. I told him I was new in town, that I didn't know many people. "Sometimes," Officer Miller said, "these things are done by people who get some sort of thrill from scaring others. It could be teenagers. It could be a lonely person." He looked at the notes. "The handwriting is not very distinct. It could be anyone." He told me they would patrol my street more often. He told me to call them immediately if anything else happened. He also suggested I could install a small security camera near my door. "It might help you feel safer, and it might catch whoever is doing this," he said. I thanked him. He was very professional. He did not make me feel silly. After Officer Miller left, I felt a little more in control. I had told the police. They were aware. It was a small step, but it was a step. I decided to get a security camera, a small one, just for my front door. I ordered one online that evening. It would arrive in a few days. The waiting was hard. Every time I left my apartment, I looked around. Every time I came home, I checked my door for notes. My heart was always a little bit on edge. The camera arrived. My neighbor, Mr. Henderson, a kind old man, helped me install it. He was good with tools. "This is a good idea, Lily," he said. "No one should make you feel unsafe in your own home." Having the camera there made a small difference. I could check the footage on my phone. It was a small comfort. A week went by. Nothing. No notes. No strange incidents. Maybe the person who wrote the notes saw the camera. Maybe they got scared. Or maybe they just got bored. I started to hope. Maybe it was over. Maybe I could finally breathe again. I began to feel more like myself. I went for longer walks. I smiled more at work. I even baked a cake. Something I had not done in a long time. It felt good. But I still checked the camera footage every day. I was still careful. One Saturday morning, I was drinking tea and looking at the camera footage from the night before. Just a habit now. Mostly, it was just cats walking by, or leaves blowing in the wind. But then I saw something. It was very late. Around 2 a.m., a figure, dressed in dark clothes, a hoodie pulled up, covering their face. They walked up to my door. They looked around. Then they reached into their pocket. They pulled out a small piece of paper. They were about to put it on my door. My heart stopped. It was them. The person who wrote the notes. Then the figure seemed to notice the camera. It was small, but it was there. They froze for a second. Then they quickly put the paper back in their pocket. They turned around and walked away fast, out of the camera's view. I watched the footage again and again. I could not see their face, but I saw them. I saw them try to leave another note. The camera had scared them away. I felt a strange mix of fear and triumph. They were real. but I had stopped them. I called. Officer Miller. I told him what I saw on the camera. That's good, Ms. Parker, he said. The camera is working. Do you have the footage saved? Yes, I said. We can't identify them from this if their face is covered, he said. But it shows they are still around. Please continue to be careful, and let us know if you see them again, or if they try something else. Now I knew they were still out there, but I also knew I had some power. The camera was my eyes when I was not looking. The next few nights, I watched the camera footage closely. I also looked out my window more often. Then, one evening, I was in my living room, reading a book. It was about 8 p.m. I heard a small noise outside my window. My apartment is on the ground floor. My living room window faces a small patch of garden. I peeked through the curtains. My heart was pounding. I saw a figure, dark clothes, hoodie. They were standing near the bushes, looking at my apartment. It was them. I quickly grabbed my phone. I dialed 911. There's someone outside my window, I whispered. The person who has been leaving notes. I think it's them. I gave my address. The operator told me officers were on their way. She told me to stay away from the windows and keep the door locked. I was so scared. My hands were shaking. I hid in my bedroom. I could hear my heart beating in my ears. It felt like hours, but it was probably only a few minutes. Then I heard voices outside. Louder voices, and then a shout. I stayed in my room. I did not know what was happening. A few minutes later, there was a knock on my door. Miss Parker, it's Officer Miller. It's safe to come out. I slowly opened the door. Officer Miller was there, and another officer. We caught someone, Miss Parker, Officer Miller said. They were trying to look into your window. Who was it? I asked. My voice was trembling. It's a young man, a teenager. He lives a few streets over. A teenager? My mind was racing. Why would a teenager do this? He confessed, Ms. Parker, Officer Miller said. He and his friend. They thought it was a funny prank. They picked your car at random at the supermarket. They saw you looked like a quiet person. They thought you'd be an easy target to scare. Prank. A stupid, cruel prank. All this fear. All these sleepless nights. Because some teenagers thought it was funny. I felt a wave of anger. Then a wave of sadness. And then, strangely, a wave of relief. It was over. It was really over. His parents are on their way to the station, Officer Miller said. He's in a lot of trouble. Thank you, I said to Officer Miller. Thank you for coming so quickly. That's our job, Ms. Parker. I'm glad you're safe. After the police left, I sat on my sofa for a long time. I felt so many emotions. Relief, anger, exhaustion, a prank. It was hard to believe. All that fear I felt, that feeling of being watched. It was all because of a joke. I thought about No, I know your secret. They didn't know any secret. They just wrote it to scare me. And it worked. It worked too well. The next day, Mrs. Gable called me. Officer Miller had informed her. Lily, I am so sorry this happened to you, she said. Those boys. I hope they learn a serious lesson. Me too, I said. I still felt shaken, but also I felt a little bit proud of myself. I had been scared, but I did not just hide. I took action. I called the police. I got a camera. I faced my fear. In the weeks that followed, life in Harmony Creek slowly returned to normal. Or a new normal for me. I still felt a little jumpy sometimes. I still checked my locks. But the crushing fear was gone. The teenage boy who wrote the notes had to do community service. He also had to write me a letter of apology. His parents brought it to me. They looked very ashamed. I read his letter. He said he was very sorry. He said he didn't think about how his actions would affect me. He said he would never do anything like that again. I hoped he meant it. I hoped he understood the pain he caused. Learned a lot from this experience. I learned that even in a quiet town, bad things can happen. I learned that fear is a powerful emotion, but I also learned that I am stronger than I thought. I learned that it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to be scared, but it is not okay to let fear control your life. I still live in Harmony Creek. I still work at the library. I still like the quiet, but now I am more aware. I am more cautious, but I am not afraid. Sometimes when I walk to my car, I remember that first note. I remember the fear. But then I take a deep breath. I look around at the tall trees, at the small, neat houses, and I know I am safe. I made it through. If you are listening to my story, maybe you have felt scared too. Maybe someone tried to make you feel small. I want to tell you, you are not alone. It is okay to feel scared, but please talk to someone. Ask for help. You are stronger than you think. You can get through it, just like I did. Life can be good again. You just have to keep going. And sometimes you have to fight for your peace. It is worth it. It really is. Thank you for listening to my story.